last session, we started about the OOPS concept. Okay, I'll open that program. Click on the file. Okay, so in last session, guys, get classes related, objects related, methods related, help parameter related, we discussed. So this is our previous one. One program I created, demo one. So here how to creating classes using the class keyword we are creating guys using the class keyword followed by the class name. Okay, na? This syntax follow. Class keyword followed by the class name. A class can contain attributes and methods guys. So attributes nothing but representing the data part of the class. Methods representing the operations of the part. What can do by this method, this class. Like those things using the methods we can represent. So methods using the def keyword, any structure if we are creating inside the class called as a method. Simply method is nothing but a function only which is available inside the class, which is available inside the class. So in every method, at least one parameter is required. That parameter generally we are using self. This is not only self, any name we can use, but at least one parameter required. This is the general term. Okay, no? So remember guys. So how to executing these class methods or variables, how to accessing. So by creating a object for this class guys. So how to creating object means what is the class name there. Using the class name with the parenthesis, we can create object assigned to one reference. So whenever creating object for our class, in this class, what are the members there, class members? For these all things, memory is creating in memory allocation. Okay. Next, in that memory, what are available members? Those things we can access using this reference. Emp.display, emp.message like that. In this method, if any other parameter there, to those parameters we can send the values at the time of calling the method. For example, here we are sending like this. This emp reference sending as input to this first parameter. Here if I'm using x to that x sending. Later onwards x dot like we can use inside the class. Okay. So if no other parameter there except self, whenever we are calling this display function, this emp is sending as a input to that shelf. Like this we are calling this. Next, outside the class using this object reference, we can call these variables emp.ename, emp.age, or else using this class name also we can access these things outside the class. Employee.ename, employee.age. Inside the method also, we can access these all variables. Okay, check it here. These variables using the object reference we can access inside the method. Using the object reference we can access, and using the self parameter also we can access. Using the class name also we can access inside the method. But outside the class, guys, only object reference or the class name can use. This is we are unable to use. Okay. And class name when can for which variables we can use, reference for which variables we can use. Is all today you will understand different types of variable there. So inside the class, outside the method, if creating any variables, considering like a class variables using the class name, using the class reference name, inside the class using the self parameter also we can access. But outside the class, self not working, name error going to returning. So these points we discussed in the last session, guys. Okay, no? So today we'll discuss about a new topic called constructors. So right click here, click on this Python file, give one more name, constructed program. Okay, here what is constructed, how creating a constructor, and how to executing constructor, also when executing constructor. This is you have to understand, guys. So related to this constructor concept. Okay, no? So constructor is a special type of method, guys. A constructor is a special type of method which is used to initialize the instance members of the class. A constructor is a special type of a method which is used to initialize the instance members of the class. Initialize means creating memory to which instance members of the class. Inside the class, if any instance variables we are creating, to them memory is initializing by the constructor automatically. Okay, no? So constructor is a special type of method. I said, guys, in Python, double underscore init double underscore the method we can consider like a constructor method. This is a constructor method. Double underscore init double underscore. This is technically considered as a constructor method. This is a predefined special type of method. Special type of method. Using this method, we can create memory to the instance members of the class. In C++, in Java, like some other languages, in other languages, the constructor has the same name of its class only. Whatever the class name is there, with that name only constructor going to creating. But in Python, it is differently there. Okay, but it treats constructor differently in Python with this name init. Okay, no? So in Python, the method init represents the constructor of the class. This method is called when the class is instantiated. When this method is executing, means whenever object is creating for our class, this constructor is going to executing. Normal methods using the object reference only we have to call. Using the class object reference we are calling, but constructor method we are not calling. Whenever creating object itself automatically calling is okay, no? So check it here, some lines of code I'll write. So here class employee class I'm writing. Internally it is inheriting from the parent class object. Internally object class is there. So inside this constructor method, this is called constructor method. Def keyword followed by double underscore init double underscore. Simply we are calling init method. Or create constructor method means like this we are creating. It required shell parameter and then followed by any other parameters. Okay, so okay, right now I don't want any parameters. Then so inside this we can create one normal print statement. So I am a constructor. I am a constructor method of this class. Simply I'm a constructor method like I created. So next our normal method I want to create a display method. So I am a display method. I am a display method like I created just dummy messages, guys. So two methods I created. So now how to creating object for this class using the class name with parenthesis. Using the class name with parenthesis, creating object for this class. Then one memory is creating, and in that memory constructor method related memory is creating, and the display method related memory is creating. Okay, this name constructor init, this name display, and this entire memory with this name emp1, like we can identify it. So now here my object reference is like emp1. I given emp1, whatever you want you can use. It is identifier name, can use any name by following the identifier rules. Okay, now here emp1 dot display method. Okay, first of all, so now this one there, I want to execute. I want to execute. Okay, so whenever I'm executing, this constructor method is automatically executing. I am a constructor method like printing. So I didn't call this explicitly. I'm not calling explicitly. Whenever creating this one, whenever object is creating for our class, immediately this constructor method is automatically executing. Okay, so what is the purpose of the constructor method, asking in introduce? If we want to execute any statements every time when we are creating object for our class, whenever creating object for our class, then this constructor method is executing automatically. That's why inside this, what are the statements there? These statements are automatically executing. So now my requirement is I want to execute some statements every time when creating object for this class. Then those statements inside the constructor method can create. This is one advantage, and another advantage. Constructor method is going to initialize the memory to the instance members. Initialize the memory to the instance members. Instance variables there, guys. I will let you know that. Wait some time. And also here, this is also we can consider like instance of the class. Instance of the class. Instance means memory for this class. So one memory is creating. In this memory, these all things loading, guys. For one class, how many objects can we create? N number of objects we can create. N number. Employee 1 and the next employee 2, guys. EMP2 equal to one more and next EMP3 equal to one more, like that. N number of objects we can create. N number of objects for one class. Sometimes basic question, can we create many objects for a single class? Yes, we can create like this we can create. So every time when creating object, every time whenever creating object, then this constructor is executing. First time printing, and next time one more object creating. So one more time coming to here, one more time executing, and next time one more object creating, then one more time coming to here executing. So that's why the statements which we want to execute every time when creating object for our class, those statements inside the constructor we can create. Those are automatically executing. Okay, 3 times I called right now. Now check it 3 times. I am a constructor like that. So normal method not executing. Normal method how executing? Normal method how executing? So whenever we are calling only executing. EMP1 dot display method. We have to call like this. Reference name dot method name. So whenever we are calling explicitly, then only normal method is going to executing. I am a display method. Are you clear about this one? Constructor and normal method execution, creation. Slowly you'll understanding more about the constructors. Okay. Next, create a class with constructed and normal methods and execute them. Execute them. Constructor method explicitly we are not calling, automatically calling. When calling means when object creating for our class. Normal method we have to call. And in this normal method, other than this self parameter, if any other parameter there, at the time of calling this method, we are giving inputs here. Okay, like that, remember it, guys. Okay, next, so the same code I will use. Okay, so now here, sometimes asking one question, guys. Can we create more than one constructor for a single class? Can we create more than one constructor for a single class? Asking interviews related. Sometimes multiple choice questions giving guys, can we create more than one constructor for a single class? Or else like this input giving and what is output, like they're asking. What is output, like that? Okay. So here I am a constructor method, or else first time, second time. I'm a constructor method 1, I'm a constructor method 2, like I'm writing just normal understanding purpose. So if I'm executing, is this working or not? And what is output? Hmm. Mohammed, no need to call EMP1. Constructor methods automatically executing when creating object, I said. We are not calling using reference, these things automatically executing. Okay, no? So here some people giving type error. So previously, guys, starting this onwards, number of times we did like this: a equal 10, b equal to 20, again a equal to 30. I'm writing. Are you getting any error because of defining same name multiple times? Here, are you getting any error? No. First time 10 related memory creating and referencing to this a. Next time 20 memory creating. Next time 30 related memory creating. So this is a referencing with a, and this is also referencing with a. Same variable name, nothing but identifier name. Same identifier name if we are using again, this is unreferenced and this a is referencing here. So now using this a, this new memory only we are able to accessing. So this is automatically collecting and deleting by automatic garbage collector. Unreferenced memories are deleting automatically by automatic garbage collector. Now we have this new memory. Same like that. So here, this is a method name, nothing but identifier name. Okay, now predefined identifier, this one. So 2 times if there means first time creating first constructor with that name. When again recreating, so one more time creating. So this is unreferenced. This is now referencing newly. So this is only available in the memory. Always latest one available. If same name there multiple times, always latest one available. Not first one, always latest one. Second constructor printing. Now execute. I am a constructor method 2. Second constructor executing. So what is the meaning of here? What is the behavior of here means overloading. With the same name, any method more than one time available. With the same name, any method more than one time available with the same number of parameters or different number of parameters, no problem. But the method name is same. More than one time if available, always the latest one existing in the memory. First creating this, it is replacing by this new one. Overloading, simply called as overloading. So coming sessions, Python polymorphism concept we are going to discussing. There I will let you know about overloading, overriding separately. This is the concept of overloading only. So simply same name related multiple times if any method is there, always latest one available in the memory location. Remember that point blindly. Dhananjay, you are saying we can call both constructors like that in overloading. In Python, you are not calling. Maybe you know Java, that's why you are giving that statement. Okay, in Java, all methods are available, but in Python, not like that. In Python, only one, latest one only available. I want to use all. First one I want to use, second one also I want to use like that. Then we have to use separate techniques. We have to use some extra techniques. So these things in the polymorphism concept, I'll let you know. Okay, as of now here, what need to remember means if any method more than one time is there, only latest one will be available in the memory. That point you have to remember it. Okay, now we can call guys methods always separately we are creating, and we can call other methods inside the constructor if you want. Okay, so inheritance whenever discussing you will understand those all. First of all, the terms you have to understand. Later, these all things class name, objects, constructors, normal methods, self parameter, variables, types of variable all together we are using in the OOPS principles. Their actual logic is going to start. So before that, all the syntaxes knowledge you are going to get it. Create a constructor more than one time and which one executing, bottom one executing. And sometimes asking in interviews, guys, how many objects creating, how to counting for a class. For a class, number of objects we can create. How many objects created, how to counting. So that is the program. For example, here look at here, class employee is there. Inside that class, one variable I'm creating with a 0. Inside the class, outside the method, if there any variable called as class variable. This class variable using the class name, generally we are calling as generally we are calling coding standard is using the class name we can access this one. Okay, so remember that. Now here inside this constructor, what I'm going to do means, so class name dot count plus equal to means this is a shorthand property. Previously in operator chapter I explained, or else if you want employee dot count equal to employee dot count plus 1. So now here first this one employee dot count, in this employee class we have count, initially what is there 0, 0 plus 1 result is what 1. This 1 again assigning to this count variable. So here is going to updating 1 first time when creating object for this class. Okay, so now here emp1 equal to employee, one object I created. So next here I'm going to print print class name dot count. Simply outside I'm creating, after creating one object I'm executing. So one you are getting, one you are getting as okay. So next one more object I'm going to create. So keep mouse on here guys in this line anywhere. Okay, control D, duplicate line you are getting, just small changes can do. Second object I created. So first time guys here the one is updated. So next here the employee dot count value is what 1. So 1 plus 1 2, the 2 again assigned to here. It means that this one is updating to here. So now here in this count variable 2 is there. That's why you're going to get here the 2 you're getting guys. Like this n number of objects you can create guys. N number of objects you can create. Next time 3, next time 4, like that coming. Okay, so in this syntax you can understanding how many objects are created. So so and so number of objects created, like this we can print. So 4 objects, if it is 1, only 1 object created, like that. 4 objects created, 1 object created, like that we can define it. Okay, so this is asking in interviews guys, OOPS concept related, basic coding structure related. So how to calculate how many objects created for a single class asking, or else can we create more than one constructor for a single class? If creating, what happens, like asking. You have to give explanation. This all coding related. Later I'll write commenting guys, I will say to you. Right now only commenting related only I'm giving. Every time 1 2 3, like if you want inside this constructor only you can print. So here the initially first time when creating object 1 coming. So inside this only print statement you can write here. Here only you can write this print statement with the name, object reference name, emp dot count, or class name also we can use. First time here the 1 is there. Okay, so 1. Next time when creating second object 2, next time 3, like that printing. Okay, next coming to the types of constructors. Types of constructors guys. So right now what is constructor? Constructor is a special type of method which is executing automatically whenever creating object for our class, and this constructor method is creating instance, this constructor method initializes the instance to the class members guys. Instance members related memory initializing, like that we are explaining. And one more purpose is if we want to execute any statements every time when creating object for our class, then those statements inside the constructor can create. So this is about the constructor related. Now types of constructors there guys. We have majorly two types of constructor. We have majorly two types of constructor. Class employee, class employee. So here def display method and then something logic there guys. If we don't want to write any logic, simply waiting. Now this is a normal method guys. This is what normal method. So if our code looking like this, by default internally default constructor is there. By default internally a default constructor is there. Okay na? So the default constructor initializes memories to the instance variables. So far I'm calling like instance variables like that. So now check it here. Using the self parameter, for example, self dot name equal to something name guys. Self dot name. This name can be any name. This name here we can use. Here we can use. Here anything you can use x, that x you can use here. That x value you can assign to this variable with the self dot. The variables which are available are the variables which are looking like this syntax self dot variable name called as instance variables. Okay, now I'll let you know about variables, types of variables separately. As of now, remember this one. This is called instance variables. Instance variables are separate for every object. When creating number of objects for a single class, for every object separately maintaining the memory. Okay, remember that. Now here, see guys, when executing this one, by default constructor is there. The default constructor is initializes the memories to this class members. For this entire class, memory is creating by the default constructor. Whenever creating object, immediately the default constructor is calling, and that is providing the memories to class members, to the instance members and all. Okay, what are the instance members there? These instance members related separate copies maintaining. What are the class members there? For them, common memory maintaining for all the objects. For one class, two objects if I'm creating, so here one variable is there guys. For example, company, company name guys. So company name equal to TCS assumption. Company name, okay, TCS. And here this is a different one. For example, city I'm using, and that is city value can use here, and the self dot city here like this. So in different cities, TCS available guys. So Hyderabad TCS, Bangalore city TCS, Chennai TCS, like that we can maintain. So here this is considered like a class variable. This is common to all the objects. For example, if creating here employee 2 like that. So later constructor also I'll create, then you will understand guys. Just follow my statements. So class variables are common to every object. Instance variables separate to every object. For example, here emp1 dot display like we are calling. So here to this city we need to pass one city value. So then Hyderabad I'm passing. Next here one more object there. So emp2 dot display. Now here the Bangalore I'm using as. Okay. So here because of this employee one display Hyderabad value sending. Because of this employee 2 dot display Bangalore value sending. Okay, so for every object guys, whenever creating objects, this is object statement. So for every object separate memory is creating. This is object to related memory. Okay, so first object reference is what? emp1. Second object reference is what? emp2. So in this emp1 city value is what? Hyderabad, this one. Okay na? And in the emp2 city value is what? Bangalore is there here. It means for every object, separate copies if we want to maintain separate values. So like this instance variables we are creating. And now for both objects, company name is TCS only. Here company name TCS only, here also company name TCS only. So just assumption here, it looks like TCS here. And next here also TCS, company related TCS there. And now here the city value Hyderabad, here city value Bangalore. Short names I'm using as just for understanding HYD, and next here the Bangalore. Okay, so Bangalore like I'm using. Are you clear now this one? So class variables common to every object. Instance variables separate to every object. This is, we will discuss in the types of variables concept. So remember right now. So internally, default constructor executing, that constructor maintaining the memories to these all members guys. Okay, na? Simply here I'll write like working with default constructor, working with the default constructor. If not writing, by default dot only there. And now another one. Two types of constructor. Generally, we are calling like two types of constructor. Default related, we are not counting. Parameterized constructor, non-parameterized constructor there. Parameterized, non-parameterized constructor guys. So here I'll give you here. So parameterized constructor related we'll discuss now. Employee. Now here the therefore. So I'm not using any parameters. If no parameter there in the definition of constructor method, I mean at the time of creating definition of the constructor method, except self, if you are not using any parameters, this is called a non-parameterized constructor. Non-parameterized constructor. Inside this, so e name equal to, so static values we can create. Employee name is Shok, and self dot salary, self dot salary is at 10,000. Like this, static values, fixed values we are assigning to the name, to the salary. Okay. So here the accept self, no other parameter there. This is called as a non-parameterized constructor. Non-parameterized constructor. EMP1 equal to, so employee object I created. So whenever I'm creating object, then immediately this constructor executing. So these two variables creating. So when creating object, so this object reference is sending to here. This object memory is sending to here. Okay, simply this is the first. Because of this only immediately sending this memory to here, employee related. Okay, so that memory self means current object. This is object, current object, self representing current object. In that current object, e name, salary, I'm creating with these values. So this entered referencing to this emp1. Next time emp1 dot e name, emp1 dot salary, or else self dot e name, self dot salary, like we can use. Okay, for accessing these values. So this is the default constructor guys. Not default, uh, non-parameterized constructor. So here I'm calling display method, and inside this I'm calling print function. So here employee name self dot name and employee salary self dot salary, like we can use. So this is which method? Normal method. So I created object, then immediately it is executing. Because of this, these two variables getting the values. And now constructor variable, this is an instance variables. Instance variables, inside one method we can create, in any other method we can access, no problem. Okay, inside this constructor method I created these instance variables using this self, and again using the same self in another method we can access. So for example, emp1 dot emp1 dot display we are calling. So because of this object creation guys, this constructor executing, so these variables creating, these all variables are now available in the current object. Current object is nothing but emp1. Okay, next emp1 dot display, whenever I'm calling this emp1 sending to this self, nothing but this is emp1. Inside the emp1 name salary there, so this is nothing but emp1, self dot name self dot salary, like we can access, no problem. Then working. So now employee name, salary, like you're getting guys. Are you clear about this program? Non-parameterized constructor, no parameters there. Yeah. Yeah. Non-parameterized constructor. Non-parameterized constructor. Now, parameterized constructor. I'm going to create next parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor means at the time of creating constructor only. So here we can pass some parameters, name, salary, like that. And now this name I will use here, and this salary I will use here. Okay. So now next those things I can access here, guys. So now here check it. Three parameters there, guys. Three parameters there. So whenever we are called, whenever creating object, so this constructor is executing constructor. So now to this self, this current class reference passing, I mean memory passing. Okay, to this value coming, no problem. Next for this name and for this value salary, for this name, for this salary, values missing. Expected three values, but sending how many? One only. Then what is output we are getting? What is output we are getting? Here. Because of this line, immediately this constructor executing expected three values, but given only one value to this self. So remaining two are missing. So that's why we can expect a type error. Number of times we did in the functions also. So constructor method missing to required positional arguments name and salary. That's why type error we are getting. Okay, this is also I'll give for your understanding here. Output related, guys. I'm giving like this. So this program comment immediately. Here no need to call this all. Simply when creating object only you're going to get error. Now how to send values to these parameters? Inside this method, if any parameter there is, for example, like this city in this method. So whenever we are calling this emp1 with the display, so city values we are passing here. Okay. Now this constructor we are not calling for passing values. So then how to passing values? How to sending values means, so inside the constructor, if any parameter there, at the time of creating object only, we have to send values here. In this constructor method only, in this object creation statement only, we are sending values to these other parameters. This object reference sending to here. Now in this parenthesis, we have to pass values. This is you have to remember it. Okay. So now here, employee name Ashok and salary 10,000. See here, previously functions concept we discussed the same rules working. So now for this EMP employee reference sending, and the next variable name. That's why for name Ashok value sending, for salary this value sending, like that. So here whatever the order we are giving, same order sharing. For example, this salary if I'm using here, okay, then this name only sending to this salary. Order if we are changing, so for example here I'm writing. Now check it here. So salary is also like that displaying. Name is 10,000 like that displaying. Okay. So position is important, guys. Different types of arguments I explained. Are you remembering? Come on, let me know how many types of arguments are there in function. This method is nothing but function only. Inside the class is there. That is only difference. So in function topic, of arguments, how many types there? Are you remembering all of you? Or many days back completed functions, how remembering like thinking? So 4 types there. Somebody giving here 5 types. Hmm. What is that 5th type? If you are telling, I will learn that. 4 types there, guys. Positional arguments, simply called as required arguments, are also called as non-default arguments. Here only name equal to value format if we are giving called default arguments. Okay, and star variables related variable length arguments, single star, double star related, we can use. Okay, and at the time of calling, key equal to name equal to value format we can use called as keyword arguments, like several types there. Okay, no? Okay, now remember. So now I sent values to these parameters successfully, and now this name value. So here I'm assigning the salary value. Here I'm assigning. So name and salary is getting values. Those things can use here. No problem. Okay, I'm not calling now. That's why not getting output. mp1 dot display. So here city is the remove it. Here if any other parameter there, to those parameters here you can send values. That is your wish. Okay, na? So now name and salary related displaying. Now instance variables advantage is inside one method we can create these variables. In any other method we can use. Okay, in any other method. This variable in this display method I created. Got it? So for example here, normal variable I'm going to create city. Okay, I don't want to disturb this program. Separate one I'll do. Okay, this is about the parameterized and non-parameterized variables, guys. So at the time of creating constructor method, if any parameter there called as parameterized constructor, if no parameter there except the self called as the non-parameterized constructor. If any parameter there inside the constructor, at the time of creating object only, we have to send the values to those parameters. That is, you have to remember, if no constructor is there, by default, the default constructor working. It initializes the memories to the instance members. Okay, so now, okay, separate file or here only in this program only I'm teaching us, or else you can make it different one. Python file. So types of variables, simply I'm writing types of variables dot py. Now coming to here. So we have a different types of variables, guys. We have a different types of variables. So majorly 4 types need to remembering. Simply here the types of variables. So in functions also I explained, guys, different variable scopes I explained. Different variable scopes. Okay, based on the scope of the variable, dividing like a types, guys. Dividing like a types. So here one is local variable scope. Okay, and the second one is a global variable, and third one is instance variable, and fourth one is class variable, and here the one more, some people considered like another one also, parameterized variable. That parameterized variable scope also comes under the local scope only. That's why no worries about that. That is also local only. These 4 variations you have to understand, guys. Okay, now we'll create one class. Class employee. Class employee. Simply I'm writing like this. And now here different variables we can create, guys. Check it. Normal method I will use. Def for display related. Simply display. And now here print value of a is like I'm writing a. So here outside the class a equal to 10 I'm creating. So outside the class, if creating any variable is considering like a global variable scope. Global scope variable is this one. Global scope variable. Global scope variable inside the class in any method or outside the class anywhere we can access. Once creating, then from next line onwards anywhere we can access this one. Inside the class in any method or outside the class also we can access directly using the variable name only. So that's why directly name I'm using. So this is for your understanding here, inside the class, inside the class, inside the display method, just like inside the class. Okay, now here I'm creating object for this class, and next calling this display guys, and one line gap I want just print. Okay, just one line gap. And next outside the class I want to print guys. Okay, na? Hmm. Now here outside I'll write outside the class value of a, value of a is so here a I'm writing. Are you clear this coding? Mhm. So here global scope variable I created. So here now object I created, and using object to display method I'm calling. So inside this variable is there or not, first checking. First checking is first where checking this A related name reference is available or not inside the display method as a local variable. Here there are not like the thing. So here if not available, then checking here guys. Checking here outside global scope there or not. Yes, global scope there with that name. That's why printing. And again here also printing. Both are working. Okay, here this is the different program guys. Types of variable you have to run like this. So inside the class value of a is 10, outside the class also value of a is 10. Global variable inside and outside anywhere we can access. Simple one. Separately I'll give it. Next next this value I want to use inside here. So this is considering like a local scope. If any variable is created inside the method, that is called as a local variable. The local variable scope is within the method only we can use. Within the method only. Inside this class only, if any other method is there, for example here, if any other method is there, inside this method also we are unable to use within the class. So only in the current method only we can use. So now here when printing like this, inside this method variable is there or not checking, yes available, printing, printing yes. So when coming to this outside, then here what you are getting in this, what is output you are expecting? What is output are you expecting? Hmm. So this is the name guys, identifier name. If name is not there, so name error we are expecting. Name error, name is not defined in this statement. But inside the class, local variable working. So here 10 we are getting. So in this we are getting error. Name error related getting. So I commented this. Okay, no need to comment. Execute you can when you are working. Okay, one more time. Both global and local related will see. One more parameterized variable I said guys. Parameterized variable means this value So at the time of defining this method only we can use here, okay, as a default parameters, guys, default arguments, a equal 10. So this variable, parameterized variable we are calling, this scope also inside this method only we can use, okay, na? So this parameterized variable also local scope only, local scope only. So that's why inside this method working, outside not going to working. So again here the inside the class printing, outside the class getting error. Okay. So this is only parameterized variable we are calling, nothing but local scope only. So that's why no worries about this one. Okay, now? Okay. Now comes to here a equal to 10. So this is a global scope variable, considering like that. And now here, so another one I'm using here for understanding. Or if you want, you can use the same variable also, no problem. So b equal to 20, or else here only a you can use a. So inside the method is there, that is called local scope variable. Okay, now? So now inside the class, outside the class, what we are getting. So inside this method, looking for local value is there. That's why here we are expecting 20. And for this is not getting us this global value getting. So 10 we are going to get it. Inside the class 20, outside the class 10 is there, global scope. Are you clear about this one? Local variable only in which method creating, in that method only we are able to accessing. Directly variable name we can use here. Global variables inside this, outside this, anywhere we can access them. So different variables, if you are using here the b, then you can use here the b related as both. So here the a is there, and now this is a b, value of b, like we can write if you want value of b. Okay, na? So now here the result is what, here result is what. So inside the class here local variable not there, this global variable related getting, here printing as 10, and the b is available as a local variable, that's why here printing 20. Are you clear? So local variable executing and global variable executing inside the method. Now when coming to here, so outside the class value of a is working 10, and the value of b I'm trying to accessing. So value of b related getting problem, guys. So now checking. So inside the class both local and global executing. Outside the class name error returns for b related local variable not executing. Are you clear about this? All of you. Now in functions we discussed, guys, these local variables, global variables, parameterized variables, these all same behavior here also. Inside the method, outside the class, like we are defining. So now coming to the instance variables also. Step by step we will add it. Now this is a global variable and this is a local variable, and I'm going to create instance variable here only, all three mixing is. So self dot c equal to 30. This is called as instance variables. Instance variable. Instance variable. Self dot type there called as instance variable. This instance variable inside this method we can use, and if any other method is there here, another method, in that another method also we can use. If it is a local variable, in another method we are unable to use. But instance variable we can use in another method also. It means the reusability is there. By creating the instance variable, we can reuse in another methods. For reusability purpose, we can use these instance variables within the class in number of methods. So inside the class, value of c is so c. If you want to access self dot c only, we are using as self dot Okay, normal variables, global and local variable, direct names we can use, but instance variable including self we are calling. Okay, so now here going to get 30. And can I use instance variable in outside the class? Can I use instance variable in outside the class? So here the name error we are getting because of this, and I commented. And now here the value of C is this is I'm printing self dot C. In the last session, I explained guys, previous session, self variables outside the class we are unable to use. So that's why name error we are going to get it. Okay, self dot C. If I'm executing, so now here name error getting. Got it? Name error only there. So this is also I'm commenting, no problem. So only this one able to accessing because of global scope. So inside this method, we can use a global, we can use a local, we can use instance. Here, if we are having any other method, like a display two, so inside this, can I use a global variable? Global variable. So global variable in any method we can use yes, yes, yes. And can I use this B? B is a local variable. B is a local variable. So this is we are unable to use it. Why means only within this method only we can use B. In another method we are unable to use it. So that's why here we are going to get name error. Okay, commenting. Can I use instance variables? Yeah, instance variable. So instance variable successfully can use C, then working as. So in this method I created, in another method I'm using. No problem about that. So here on print line I'm using, and I'm going to call emp dot display 2. emp dot display 2. So check it guys, last two outputs. So A value, C value we are able to accessing. Hope you are understanding everyone. Okay. So now how to creating instance variable means inside the class, inside the method using the self parameter creating. Without the self creating, that is like a local variable. With the self creating, that is an instance variable, remember. So local variable only for this method only, if you want to use any variable, then create as a local variable. And in this method, creating one variable, and if we want to use in another methods also, then reference create as a instance variable, then anywhere we can use it within the class. Okay, that is the purpose. Okay, now next another one, class variable related. Class variable related. Okay, class variable how to creating means inside the class, outside the method we are creating as here. Inside the class, outside the method. Okay, for example here 40 I'm writing. This is called class variables, class variable scope. Simply okay, class variable. Okay, na? So inside the class, outside the method, if creating any variable, generally inside the class immediately we are creating as a next statement. So we are creating some variables with values called as a class variable. And these class variables, if we want to access using the class name reference, we can access using the class name. Generally we are using employee.d. This class related object reference is what here emp. Using this emp also we can access this one. Within this class, using the self also we can access. Using the self also, this variable we can access. But real-time standard is for calling instance variables related only self we are using as. For calling class related variables, class name only we are using. Then other developers will understanding easily. Okay, employee dot D means this is a class variable. Self dot C means this is a instance variable. Like that, they are understanding coding standards. Okay, so now here comes to here. Print value of D is value of D is so how we are calling here class name dot D. This is a coding standard. In this method, I used this one, and next here also I'm going to use value of D is employee dot D. Okay, and now here display method whenever I'm calling this one first display method related I will check it guys. Display method related. See value of A, value of B, value of C, value of D all are working inside the method. No worries about that. One print statement. Empty gap related. Next emp dot display to. Display to when calling global variable printing. This is a commented guys. And this one instance variable we can access. And this is the class variable working or not. Check it. Yes, working. Okay. And next here the one print gap and coming outside here. Outside the class value of A. So here this is a global working. And next value of B. B is working or not? Not working. This one error is coming. Name error. And next a value of C related. Value of C. Value of C is self-related, not working. Value of C. This is not working. Okay, name error coming. And next print value of D. Then here the class name dot D. So last these things you can check it. So these two A and D working. If I'm uncommenting this one, error coming. Name error coming. Where is name error? Here, top side there. Because of the B statement. So if we are commenting this one, next in this another line, we are getting, first you can comment this, uncomment this. Now because of this, you may get error. You are getting error here. Self not defined like that. So remember that. And here, without without using, okay, here and here anywhere, no problem. So without a self, just like normal C, if I'm using, considering like what? It is like a local variable inside the display method like this C equal to value there are not checking, not there. This is instance variable with the name C not there normally. Okay. So here inside this method if not available, inside outside the class like this, outside the class like this, they are not checking. Here not checking. Okay. So outside the class like this, C equal to something value there are not checking. There also if not there, then going to return name error. This one. So instance variables using this self, we have to call it. Otherwise, considering like a local variable, checking in the local scope. There if not available, global scope there are not checking. There also if not available, built-in scope there, built-in scope, Python software location. There C variable with value there are not checking. There also if not available, then error going to returning. Okay now? Is all. So now here my intention guys, global variables we're creating, how to accessing, where to accessing. And next local variables where to creating, where to accessing. Okay, how to accessing. And instance variable, how to creating, where to accessing, how to accessing. And next class variables. Class variables where to creating, inside the class immediately creating, outside the method. How to accessing using the class name reference accessing. Where to accessing inside the class in any method we can access, outside the class also can access. And one more point, these class variables using this class name I use in class name, and now here using the reference name also, using the reference name also and using the self also can use if you want. Okay, here the three things you're going to get. Check it in display method. See guys here, three there. Okay, all variations I'm giving here. And now coming to the self related, this one, self related, where is there here, self there. Okay, so this related, instead of that EMP, I'm going to use working or not. Check it as this one, EMP related. So C related, check it. So here the C two times there means one is using self, one is using EMP. Both are working. And next here, using the class name I'm trying to accessing. If I'm using class name, so this variable is a class variable like that considering. This variable is a class variable like that considering. But inside the class, we don't have C. So then that time attribute error we are getting. This employee has no attribute to C. This employee class has no attribute to C. Here name error not getting. Name error not getting. This is you have to understanding. So this object having D property, display 2 property like that. So this class if not having that property, then an attribute error we are getting. That is a concept. So this is I'm commenting. And because of this, what you are getting? Attribute. Attribute error. Okay. So do practice guys these all things. By seeing these many rules, lot of students getting confusing and thinking like Python is a more horrible subject like that. But compared to other languages, here less rules only. You have to focus a little bit. Many batches I observed guys, when teaching OOPS concept, lot of people dropping. Why means they are not understanding, they are not doing practice. So when you are doing practice, you have to do like this cross checking. Then subject you will get it. Got it? Yes. So here the finally types of variables related. I completed guys all the 4 types related. And variable scopes, where can access particular variable, where cannot access, also completed here. And constructor related also completed here. What is constructor? Purpose of the constructor. Can we create a multiple constructor for a single class? If creating, what happening? Parameterized constructor, non-parameterized constructor, when executing constructor. Okay, like purpose of the constructor, like these all topics now completed. So up to this, all basic fundamentals is class structure, object structure, method structure, variable structure, self parameter structure, like all discussing. So later, next session onwards, going to start OOPS principles. OOPS principles. In that OOPS principles concept, these all topics together we are going to using, depending on the situations. So that time, global variable we're creating, how to accessing class variable we're creating, how to accessing instance variable, normal local variables like that. I'm not going to discussing separately. Directly I'm going to use, and based on that programming scenario we'll explain. Okay, na? So this related I will share today material guys. So here constructor related, simply a given guys. So what is constructor? It is a special type of method like that. And here the how it is calling, like some programs are given. So what is this percentage? Yes, in Python at the time of learning Python starting days guys, in Python string handling I explained format specifier, this first value to this first place, second value to this second place, like holding, injecting the values. So percentage D accepting only digits related, percentage S can accept all the types of string or digits like that. So if we know this all information, then we can use. Before the lockdown guys, people used this one. Actually Python 2x version 2.7 version used previous before the lockdown. So 2020 officially announced by Python people, PSF company, their Python Software Foundation. So from 2020 onwards, Python 3.x version people are using. No one using 2x. In that 2 version, people use these all symbols. So now in Python 3x version, we are using this format method or f-string concept. This is called f-string. Directly values here injecting inside the string only. A normal format method if you are using, so value 1 comma value 2 like that. This is 0 index, this is the 1 index like that. So where 0 is there that value is binding. Where 1 index is there that value is binding here. Like that, named numbered indexing we can use, or named indexing also we can use. This all in Python string handling explained clearly. Okay. So this material many days back I created, guys. So that's why percentage D like that there. Don't worry about that. So here number of programs are given, counting the number of objects related, constructor types related, parameterized, non-parameterized, default constructor related, all there. And here different types of variables related explained. So this one nothing but local scope variable only. Okay, no worries about this. And every topic related separately explained, and programs also given. Do practice this all. So next session, OOPS principles will start. And these all topics related interview questions there is. Constructor related this one. What is constructor? Different types of constructor. About parameterized constructor, non-parameter. What is default constructor behavior? What is init method? Like all the things there. And types of variables related questions there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for this day. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow Saturday we have session. We have session tomorrow also. See you. Bye.